Hello and welcome to the Flame and Fiber podcast. My name is Barbara. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as DeevaaS. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm podcasting once a month now, and it's hard for me to remember how I start my podcasts because, of course, I'm still doing my daily vlog, as you all know, because you are at least spammed with all my videos every day. And I do apologize for that, except that I don't, because I've been enjoying doing the vlogs every day, and I love the community that the vlogs have gathered, and so I apologize for the spamming, but that's it, because I really do love the community and I enjoy it, and it has helped me throughout this whole Corona thing, and quite frankly, I need it. So there you go. Anyway, so the lighting is a little weird today. I'm going to do the best I can because it's dark, and I don't usually record in the dark for my podcasts, but finding a time and, with trying to, I want to edit this tomorrow, and Dennis is going to be on his computer all evening tomorrow evening, so I want to make sure that I can edit this. So I'm recording it. So this is Wednesday night, March 9th. So in theory, it should go up tomorrow on the 10th. That's the plan. If it doesn't, well, that's because things didn't go to plan. And it won't be the first time that has happened. So I actually have a bunch of FOs. The first one I have, and I seem to have hair all over my face. The first one I have has been delivered. It was a birthday present for my mother-in-law. I made her one of Isola Teague's Musselburgh hats, and I recorded a little clip before I gave it to her, so I will put that right here. So here is my third Musselburgh hat that I have made, and the Musselburgh hat is by Isola Teague. I have not blocked this, and it turns out I am not going to block it, but didn't it turn out beautiful? This hat is for my mother-in-law, Aura, for her 91st birthday, which was on Valentine's Day. I gave it to her on the needles, and she laughed and thought that was delightful. The Musselburgh hat, you basically make a tube with two ends, and then you turn it inside out, and you can, either side can be the inside and either side can be the outside, and it works out great. But I love, love, love this yarn. Now this yarn was a gift. It really was a gift. I'm doing an exchange with my friend Juanita. Juanita is She Spins everywhere on the internet. You can find her on YouTube and Ravelry and Instagram. And Juanita and I are doing an exchange. I haven't sent her package yet, so don't be looking in the mail yet, but I will be. But she sent me a box of gorgeous, gorgeous handspun yarn, which you saw in the last podcast. I showed you my box. Well, I knit this hat for Aura from the yarn that I got in that box. I need to reskein this to make it look more beautiful. But this is how much I have left. I'm so excited. I'm hoping that I have enough to make some fingerless mitts for myself. And I'm certainly going to find out, because I'm going to try. So this is 100% wool, South American punta, that she dyed the fiber and then she spun the yarn. So this is hand spun, hand dyed by my wonderful friend Juanita, and it was a joy to knit, let me tell you. OMG. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to making myself some mitts. So I did this on a size 3 needle. I wasn't sure the weight of the yarn, but it ended up knitting up like a fingering sport weight. And I don't think that I did the gauge. You do a gauge check when you do the muscle burrow, so to know how far to go with the increases and that kind of stuff as you're knitting the pattern. I highly recommend this pattern. This is the third muscle burrow that I've made, and I have never made more than one hat from a pattern, I don't think. If I did, it was only 2, because this was a shock to me how much I enjoyed this, because it's a relatively simple pattern. It's a lot of stockinette, but you know me, I do need a stockinette in my life sometimes. But when I did the calculation for the sizing of this hat, I think I didn't do it exactly right, because the hat came out smaller than my other 2 hats, and I was trying to make it about the same size. So when I put this hat on, it was really tight, and I knew that if I had made this hat for myself, I would not have been happy with it. And I was afraid that I was going to have to, well, my plan was if it didn't fit Aura the way it is, then I would have to block it and try to stretch it blocking. But I wasn't even sure how I was going to do that. The only other time I've blocked hats has been on balloons, and I don't even know if I have balloons. But anyway, I wasn't sure how I was going to do it, but I was determined to try to get it to fit Aura. But as it turned out, it fits her great, and she loves it. I'm so glad. So that was a worry, and I was really happy that it fit her. But there was something about the way I did the gauge on this one that so when I do my 4th, which I'm sure will happen, I will need to be more careful in terms of checking my gauge. I can imagine me making these hats for my granddaughters. My granddaughters are moving from Florida to Pennsylvania, and next winter they're going to need hats, and they're going to need mittens, and I might not make them mittens. I can make mittens. But they're going to need hats. Their mom and dad are going to need hats. So I can see quite a few muscle burrow hats in my future, because let me tell you, it really hits a spot for me. I need a simple stockinette project on my needles sometimes, just when I just want to keep my hands busy. And this is the perfect hat for that. So I did this on my Chalgu, whatever these are, red lace, and a size 3. And I did a magic loop. I'm not a DPN kind of girl, as you know. So I did it magic loop, and anyway, I couldn't be more thrilled. I'm so glad it fits Aura, and I'm so glad she loves it. Although I was threatening to just take it apart and re-knit it bigger, and that would have given me joy too, because I really enjoyed knitting this yarn. So anyway, thank you so much, Juanita, for this gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. And thank you, Valerie, for the gift of the pattern, so that I got off my duff and actually knitted it. I had been going on and on about how, I gotta try, check out the muscle burrow, I went to look, and there it was in my Ravelry patterns as a gift from Valerie. So that was sweet. So anyway, here you go. My first finished object of March, well, of the March podcast, which is what I finished in February, and I am delighted with it. Thank you, everybody. I'm really enjoying, I really enjoyed knitting that hat. I don't even remember what I said, because it was 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, but that was the 3rd muscle burrow I did. I've had a muscle burrow finished object in every one of my podcasts so far this year. Because I made myself one, then I made one for Dennis, and then that is Aura's 91st birthday present. So, and she loves it. She's worn it several times in my presence. So that's nice. I seem to have gotten myself some fiber or something in my eyes. So there you go. So that's my first finished object. My second finished object is what I am wearing, and this is I wasn't planning on doing it next, apparently. This is my Pippin Scarf. This is a Mobius scarf, and I haven't woven in the end. I do apologize for that. And when I blocked it, I seem to have added some scallops to it, so I just took it off the blocking mat just now, although it's been dry for a little while. This is, let me find my bag. One of these bags was for this scarf. So I have the pattern, although my patterns, I'm not that proud of any of my patterns, to be perfectly frank with you. This one was not printed on the color printer, and because the light is in the back, it's hard to see, but this is a free pattern called Scarf Pippin by Woolness Designs, Michaela Schmidt-Forster. And I am really, really happy with it. This is completely reversible. It's exactly the same on both sides, and I really love it. The one thing that I noticed that is that it is very, very long. So this is 3 times around. I thought I was planning on kind of wearing it 2 times around, and I can do that. But I can't even show you. There you go. But so it's nice and drapey and lovely. It's not obvious that it's a Mobius cowl, and I think that that's the case generally when you wear a Mobius cowl. The fact that it's Mobius isn't obvious when you wear it, but that's the fun part of knitting it, is the Mobius part. Now I knit this out of, I bought 2 of these, Dye Mad yarns in the Gladys Shawl, her Gladys Shawl, which is 70% merino and 30% silk. And this is the Picket Twine colorway, which was for striking workers. The proceeds went to striking workers, and she has it marked as January 22. So I don't know if this color is still available. I bought it in the Gladys Shawl, and I also bought it in the Chester sock base. And anyway, it was so much fun to knit. It's a free, as I said, it's a free pattern, beautiful lacy pattern, completely reversible. And I do find Mobius cowls very fun to knit. I watched Kat Bordy's Mobius cast on video, which I highly recommend. I had just picked a random one that came up when I said Mobius cast on, and I found it much harder to follow than Kat. I'm like, wait a minute, I know I like Kat Bordy's, let me just go to hers. And it was a million times easier for me. I used a size 8 needle on this, and I have some ends to weave in, but not very many because it's Mobius, which means it only has one side. The pattern calls for a I-cord bind off, and I actually started the I-cord bind off. I did about 9 inches of I-cord bind off before I stopped because it wasn't stretchy enough. Now I have another scarf, and I've talked about this scarf at least on my vlog, if not on my podcast, that was very drapey yarn, just like this, that the bind off on one side was too tight, and I didn't like the way it was tight on the edges and drapey in the middle. That one wasn't a Mobius, so it had actually 2 edges. Mobius only has 1. But so anyway, I started the I-cord bind off and then decided that it really wasn't stretchy enough for me, so I took it out and I did the very stretchy bind off. That Very Pink Knits did a little video about the very stretchy bind off, and so this bind off now is very stretchy. As I said, I just took this off the blocks, so I'm not I don't have any experience wearing this actual scarf, but I can tell you that so far I'm really loving how it's going. I did think it was going to be more obviously Mobius when I was wearing it, but I'm seeing that it's not. And also the yarn, the color, you know, it's kind of a busy yarn. I love the color, by the way. I'm so happy with it. But it isn't, excuse me, it isn't, you know, the kind of yarn where you're going to see a lot of detail in the knitting because the yarn is so wild and crazy. So anyway, that's my second finished object. And as I said, it's called Scarf Pippin, and it is a free pattern, which is always fun. My next finished object, which is also in the exact same colorway, but in the Chester socks. These are my 5 Winds Jack socks. And I cannot find my, I can't find my project bag, which would have the pattern and everything. So I will, well, I mean, do you really need to see the pattern? You do. I'll go find it. I'll be right back. I can't find anything because I'm very, very disorganized. Here is the 5 Winds Jack socks pattern, but it's not a beautiful picture anyway, so oh well. But anyway, and this is the test knit version of the pattern. I don't have the final version of the pattern to show you, but anyway, so there are the Jack socks, and well, I did find the bag, and of course the pattern is not in the bag, so now I'm going to have to do like some editing thing and show you a picture of the pattern. But this is a pattern designed by our friend Carol, who is one of our group, whose daughter has a horse rescue farm in Alberta, Canada, and called the 5 Winds Farm, 5 Winds Rescue, I'm not sure, 5 Winds. And the Jack socks, Jack is named after a beautiful horse named Jack, and my dad's name is Jack too. And look at this beautiful pattern. And I did the slip stitch heel. Isn't that pretty? Anyway, I'm so tickled with the socks. I loved knitting the pattern. I did it as a test knit, but of course I wasn't quite finished when she released it, but that's all right. It's released now, and I highly recommend it. I really enjoyed knitting this a lot. The toes are Knit Picks Stroll in the Eggplant colorway, and this is the Chester sock in the Picket Twine from Dye Mad Yarns. So, and proceeds from the pattern from Carol are going to the 5 Winds Farm, and she's currently working on another pattern called Ode to Joy she's got out to test knitters. That is the coolest thing, but it's color work, and you know I don't do color work. Yeah. So I will be giving that pattern away as a prize for in the March Ode to Joy make along. And I was going to say I would give the yarn for that, but I don't have it. It's like piano keys, so it's white and black, and I don't have white and black yarn to give away, but I will give away the pattern. I will give away more than one copy of the pattern for March. But here you go. Now, Tammy was the winner of the January prize for the Ode to Joy Make-Along. The Ode to Joy Make-Along is a year-long make-along, And basically, if you are creating something or doing something creative and it's bringing you joy, then we want to hear about it and we want to celebrate that. There's a thread on Ravelry in the Flame and Fiber podcast group where you can post pictures and comment, and we would love to see what you're doing. If you're somebody said I've started to make music, and I think she was playing the piano or something, and really enjoying it, picking it back up after a long time. That counts. That counts. Maybe it was a guitar. I'm terrible about remembering things. But if you're cooking, sewing, spinning, whatever you're doing, knitting, crocheting, felting, whatever you're doing creative that is bringing you joy, it counts. And so Tammy won the prize, and I'm giving away a monthly prize, and I'm doing drawing for February. I did a drawing for February, which I will announce at the end of the podcast. And Tammy won a kit to make these socks. So I have one more, and I haven't mailed it to her. I'm the worst. I am such a procrastinator. I'm so sorry, Tammy, but it's going out soon. But anyway, I'm going to give her some of the eggplant that she can make this exact sock, and I'm giving her, gifting her the pattern too. So she will be able to make, even though apparently she's not a sock knitter yet, but maybe we can encourage her because it's such a beautiful pattern. But anyway, thank you, Carol, for letting me do the test knit on this. And I love the socks, and I love the idea of the money going to help your daughter's horse rescue. And anyway, so this is my third finished object. I know I get to wear the socks. I'm so excited. My fourth finished object. Did you hear that? Did you hear what I said? Fourth finished knitted object is, now I had a bag for this too, the Temurervilles maybe that's the bag I didn't bring up. Well, I'll have to put a picture of it here too, because apparently I am incapable of getting everything organized. But it's Kay Meadors Natural State Knits, and it's her pattern. And this is all Megan's fault. Now Megan is my friend in New Zealand, and she wanted a pattern like a Faroe Island pattern or a Sontag pattern for a Sontag shawl. But anyway, it's like the Outlander shawl. And here's a picture of the pattern and how it's being worn. Now, I did mine in Yowsa, Miss Babs Yowsa. Let's see if I can show you this. We'll see. So this will give you an idea of what it's supposed to look like. The picture in the pattern gives you a better idea, but it ties around the back, although I'm wearing a heavy sweater, so ties around the back. And I suspect that this pattern is the precursor to the cardigan, because the shawl, and I think I would like it to go a little further down, but but it ties in the back so you can work and do things, so I just have some idea that this is the prototype of a cardigan. What do you think? Anyway, it barely ties in the back. Carol suggested a button, and it turns out that Megan plans on using, or suggested, a snap, which in New Zealand is called a dome. And I'm liking the idea of a big snap in the back because I want to be able to wear it sitting in my chair, and I don't want a big thing in my back. So there you go. This is my Tess. And the yarn is Miss Babs Yowsa in the Iolite colorway. And it's it was called a Babette Repeatable. So it's a lightweight worsted, and I do have a bag. I do have the bag. I'm sure I brought the bag. Ugh. Anyway, whatever. See, this is what I get. It's a lightweight worsted, and it is 100% superwash merino. But I really love how it knit up. I'm very happy with the shawl, and I think I'm going to go with the snap idea. But I like the idea. This is probably going to end up being my shawl that sort of sits on the, you know, in the corner of my chair. So like when I'm, you know, just need a little something, something, it'll be there. So this is finished item number 4, right? Jack Socks, Tess, Pippin, and or his hat. So there you go. The other thing that I did is I spun. I actually spun some yarn. I have not soaked this. It has, you know, it is what it is. But I did this on a drop spindle, which is the first time I've really spun in quite some time. So I'm kind of happy with it. It's a mini. It was a fondant fiber mini. Came in a little mini pack. I have some others, and I'll show you them in a minute. But so I have a little bit of finished yarn. It's very wonky, very wonky. I chain plied it on my drop spindle, which I found kind of awkward. But I have another smaller fiber that I spun into singles. I think I'm going to Andean ply that in, so that'll turn into a 2-ply. This is a 3-ply. There's about 34 yards here. I measured it on my book. So there you go. So I was spinning. Yeah. Pretty cool. When I went downstairs to get something else I forgot, I found my bag with my Tess Temurervilles Shawl pattern. So this is what it's supposed to look like. It's a little, I ended up with the measurements in the pattern, but I think it's just a little bit too small for me. Now I do have another skein of the Yowsa Iolite, but it's 590 yards, and I don't know if I really want to, and here's the, it's hard to see, Miss Babs. It's giant, 560 yards. So I don't know if I want to break into another one to make this somewhat bigger, but I will if I find that I'm unhappy with it as I'm trying to use it. But I could just put a knit-on edging on it and make it look bigger. And anyway, so here is what it's supposed to look like. My printer's having some issues. So my next, so now whips, because I guess 4 is all I have for finished objects. Now my first whip, I have an old version of this pattern, the Mercury Socks pattern, and I'm pretty sure this is a free pattern. Her name is not Kim McKenzie anymore. I will look it up and I'll put it under here. But I have made, I'm not sure how many, but this is kind of my one of my go-to free patterns. I like Hermione's socks also, but I really like these, the Mercury socks, and so I am making another pair of socks. I know, crazy, right? And I do my socks 2 at a time. Magic loop, Isn't this pretty? This yarn is from Arctic Craft. So I have the bag. There it is. Arctic Crafts, Benta in Norway did this. And this is Platinum Socks, 75.25. And this is Valentine's 2021 Love Story. This yarn and the bag, this really cute bag, was a gift to me from the lovely Ravelry. And I am the yarn is beautiful. I don't know if this yarn is available. It was a red mini and then this beautiful yarn. I don't know if this is a color that she's selling again or if it was just special for Valentine's Day 2021. But I am really enjoying knitting it. Now I'm planning on putting in an afterthought heel because I'm going to be putting it in with the red. And the toe is going to be red as well. So I've just started doing plain stockinette on the back and what's going to be the bottom. So I'm doing this for a little while, then I'm going to put in the heel. Once I have the heel in, then I'm going to keep knitting on the foot until it's time for the toe, and then put the toe in red too. That's how I do an afterthought heel. I always do the heel before I finish the socks so that I get the dimensions just right for my foot. But I've really been enjoying this. This is a size 1 needle. I'm not in love with these. I think these are Addies with the blue, and the blue floppy is not my favorite, although I actually haven't been having that much trouble with it on these socks, and normally I do, so I'm not sure what the difference is in how I'm knitting with this. I'm not sure, but anyway. So that's what I'm working on for my sock. And my birthday is in a couple days, and the lovely Susan, who is Pink Shawl Girl on everywhere, gave me a gift. And I apologize, Susan, I apologize, but the reality in my house is that when I'm using a pattern, it falls on the floor, and when it falls on the floor, my dog steps on it with a muddy paw. So this is Pearl loving on this beautiful little shawl called Sweet Little Nothing. And I do not know how to pronounce your last name, Susan, so I'm going to call you Pink Shawl Girl. I will write it down here, and I will write it in the description below so that you can find it. But this is the cutest shawl. It has picot on all sides, not just on the bind off. It has picot edges. And this was a gift. It was from the designer for my birthday, and I really, really appreciate it. And I was inspired. Now, I guess it's Danny from Little Bobbins. Couldn't remember. Does a birthday cast on. She does a Christmas Eve cast on, and she does a birthday cast on. And so I thought, oh, this is my birthday cast on, but I'm not waiting. I'm not waiting because I want this. So I cast it on, and isn't it pretty? This is a gift from Verena. And I'll make it a progress keeper. So, well, by the time you see this again, it's going to be finished. But I love it. You can see that this is as I'm adding, I'm making a picot edge. And then when I get to the very end, the bind off will also be a picot bind off. And she suggests that would be a good time if you wanted to add beads. Her pattern, I love the gradient yarn effect that she has in this picture. I'm really sorry about that footprint. And I thought about using minis to do that, but when I went into my stash, for some reason this yarn just jumped out at me, and I decided I was going to use this. This is LittleBean Loves Handmade Painted Yarns. I have had this for a very, very long time. LittleBeanCrochet.etsy.com. Now this yarn was a gift to me. The first time I went to Rhinebeck, I went by myself, stayed in a motel, and I stayed in the motel that was next door to Indie Untangled. And this was before Indie Untangled got to be huge at Rhinebeck. I mean, it was pretty big, but it wasn't like crazy pants like it is now. And so I went to Indie Untangled, which was in like a Holiday Inn or Howard Johnson's or something like that. And, you know, did some shopping and whatever. And I was by myself. So it had like a little cafe off to the side. And I sat down to get dinner. And I was by myself. So, of course, I'm sitting there knitting, as is everyone in the room, because they're all knitters there. And I was sitting next to a table of six lovely women and one little boy. And we started talking, and they were absolutely the kindest, most welcoming, generous people. And I mean, and we just sat and we ate dinner, ended up eating dinner together and ended up exchanging information, and they made me feel so welcome. I mean, I can tell you that that set the tone for the weekend for Rhinebeck to just, even though I was by myself, nobody knew who I was. I was podcasting at that time, but nobody knew who I was. If I ever go to Rhinebeck again, still nobody will know who I am except a couple of you people. But anyway, it just set the tone for the whole weekend. It was so lovely, and these women are so lovely. And the next time I went to Rhinebeck, we got together for dinner and exchanged gifts. And this was a gift that I got from the dyer. And I am really, really ashamed to say I've forgotten her name now, because we haven't been in touch very much since then. Well, I have with a couple, Gretchen and a couple on Facebook who I'm not on Facebook very much. Anyway, it's called Sister Use Your Pain. That was the colorway for this. Anyway, that's a long story to tell you a little bit about the yarn, but this yarn was a gift, and I've had this yarn for, I guess, 6 years now. And it's got sparkle in it. I don't know if you can see the sparkle at all. Yeah, there you go. So it is 75, 25, and 5. So 75 superwash merino, 20 nylon, and 5 stellina. And I've had this yarn for a really long time, and I've looked at it for a really long time. And as soon as I went to like see what I wanted to do, this jumped out at me, and I thought, I want to make this sweet little thing. It's not sweet little thing. Sweet little nothing, sweet little thing out of this yarn. And I'm really happy with how it is knitting up. And I cast this on a couple of hours ago. So this is a brand new cast on. I have to tell you, I am really enjoying knitting this. It doesn't have tons going on, and everything that's going on is going on at the beginning of the row. And so it's easy to remember, oh, I have to do something. And so I've been able to knit this watching television, and I get to use my beautiful marker from Merino. And from Chevis, I bought some of her, I don't know if she's still selling her stones and things, but that's from Chevis and that's from Verena. So anyway, it's really Oh, I have another one. This is also from with crystals. I've enjoyed this so much. Thank you so much, Susan. I cannot tell you what a delight. It was so sweet to get the gift in the first place, and then to love every minute of knitting this pattern. I'm just astonished. Well, like I said, I cast this on, you know, well, I think I watched 2 Veras. So 3 hours ago, I cast this on and have been knitting on it. And as I said, well, so this is 2.5 hours of knitting, and I've enjoyed it immensely. So thank you so much, Susan. What a kind, wonderful gift of your pattern and your creativity, because I am sincerely enjoying knitting this. I'm doing it on a size 6 needle, which I gotta go through my whips and figure out what's going on, because I had to dig around for a size 6 needle to start this, and I was starting it come hell or high water, let me tell you. Size 6, what's with size 6? Do you have, you know, is there a particular size that you end up like you can't find? I have the same problem with 4s and 6. So the other whip is my drinks shelf. Now this is a design by my daughter, Christy, of Christy Corner Needleworks on Etsy, and I'll link to her shop below. And it's my temperature drinks shelf. And if you watch DeevaaS, you will recognize where she got her inspiration for the name of this. I inspired her too, because, you know, I do like a nice cocktail. So DeevaaS and I were the inspiration for this, and of course, she used grab yo drank with permission. So there you go. So Christy and I do this together on Sunday nights, and we missed last Sunday. And for the past like year and a half, I've only been stitching, well, since January, I've only been stitching with when I was talking to Christy on Sunday nights, and pretty much. I had started a temperature library last year, if you might remember, and we missed a lot of Sundays in a row for one reason or another, and that was it for me, and I stopped doing it. Hers turned out so cute. Hers turned out so beautiful. But anyway, and that was an embroidery one. And I'm not really an embroiderer, and I picked the embroidery one because I thought, oh, let me try embroidery, because Christy's an embroiderer, and she does such gorgeous, gorgeous work. Oh my gosh, when you see her pieces in person, it's just amazing. She's really good. But anyway, so I thought, let me embroider. Well, it turns out I didn't love embroidery, so I'm doing the cross stitch. I think she only has a cross stitch version of the drinks shelves. But there you go. There are my drinks. I made a mistake in January. There's a big wide space there. It's not supposed to be that wide, and so I had to do some fiddling at the end of the month to get everything on the shelf. But I'm going to put some liquor bottles there, and that will be fine. That's my plan. But anyway, so I have the glasses all done up until next Sunday. And so then I have to go back for half of February and March and just put the colors of the drinks in. But you can see that's just not that many stitches, and so I expect to be pretty caught up by the end of Sunday. But I have been working on this on my own when I wasn't talking to Christy, and the last thing I did was I outlined the glasses in January. I don't know if you can see that. DeevaaS outlined her glasses in black. And I decided I didn't want quite so much contrast, and so I'm using the dark gray that the actual glass shelves are made out of, and I just have one strand. Can you even see that? The outline of those glasses. So the glasses on the January shelf are outlined. The glasses on the February shelf are not. So I got all of January outlined, and I'm really happy with how it looks. I'm having a lot of fun with this. A lot of fun with this, I have to say. And I was really kind of excited that I felt like stitching on a time that it wasn't a Sunday with Christy. Because I'm glad to be stitching again and wanting to stitch. So that's fun. I'm doing this on 14 count Aida in the called for colorways. All the colorways are DMC. Christy helped me build my temperatures and the colors to go with my temperatures. And I have been enjoying that a lot. So that is my third whip, but I do not have anything else going that I'm actually working on. I have a lot of things going, and I might think about doing a whip parade next podcast just to see what I'm going to keep and what I'm going to frog. Because I definitely have some frogging. I definitely have frogging to do. How much, I'm not sure. I want to remind myself I had a bag downstairs I didn't bring, and now I remember what it was. It's my Norma wrap, if you recall that. But I think that's going to be a frog too, because I worked on it a little bit and realized it's not what I want. So I'll talk about that next month. I did work on that one evening, but I decided that's a no-go. I've pretty much decided that, I think. Which is too bad. That's my oldest whip. And this will be the 7th time I've frogged it. That yarn is not going to survive. That yarn won't survive. It's pretty delicate. Although the first 6 times I frogged it, I had only gotten about that far. This time I think I have 24 inches, maybe 30. But I've decided I'm not happy with it, and I'm going to frog it. So I'll show you that next time when I talk about the frogging, because there's at least that and at least one other thing I'm going to definitely frog, and then we'll go from there, see how it all works out. Other things might, but they're not definite at this moment. So, goodies. Well, Maisie struck again. It's my fault. Basically anything on the floor is hers. And a plastic bag for sure is hers. And sticks, 100% are hers. And so my spindle was in a plastic bag, which has a hole in it now. Fell on the floor. Dennis hears crunch, crunch, crunch. I'm like, ugh. So I have to get this yarn off, but because I can't use it now. But anyway, I was really unhappy. I almost cried when she did that. It's my own fault. I know it's my fault. I understand it's my fault. I still almost cried. I cannot believe I'm having so much trouble finding things. I only have this much space because I only have that much space that doesn't have stuff on it. I guess that's part of the problem. Oh, I bumped you. There we go. Sorry. Earthquake! So anyway, I reached out to my friend Juanita, who collects drop spindles, and said, I'm in the market for drop spindles, and she recommended a Etsy shop, which I will link below, called 3D Woodworks. And I asked her what weight I should get, because I want to spin fingering weight. This, I think, is going to end up being more like a DK, heavy sport DK. But I ended up getting 3. Her recommendation was 0.9 to 1.4 ounces for weight. So this one, isn't that pretty? Olive wood is 1 ounce. And I spun the single of this on this spindle. This spindle is like the coolest thing ever. This is some kind of like a pod or a seed. Isn't that cool? I don't know if you can see. There you go. So it's very textured, and you know, and I thought, oh, I wonder if that even will work and not catch the yarn and everything. But they all have a little notch, and all the action of a spin happens above the whorl. So it turns out that it isn't a problem at all. And the second single that I spun with this spindle, and it weighs, I think it was 1 ounce, 1.17 ounce. And this is the yarn, the single that I spun on that. I haven't plied it. This is the one. The pink was about 25 grams of fiber. This one was like 15 grams of fiber. And so I'm afraid that I won't have, well, first of all, I didn't enjoy the chain plying on the drop spindle. It was just too much. I do have an electric spindle, and I do have my Ashford, which I haven't used in a really long time. But the e-spinner might be easier to do a chain ply on the e-spinner. But meanwhile, I'm going to do an Andean knot. I don't know what it's called. Where you wrap it on your hand in such a way that you're really pulling from both ends of the single. And so you can do a 2-ply on your drop spindle much easier. The chain plying was very fiddly and whatever. But anyway, this is what I spun on this. I took it off on my toilet paper roll because I'm fancy. I'm very fancy. And he was at that time, and I don't know if he's still having it, buy 2 get the third one for $2. They were $21 each. And so for $42, $44, something like that, plus $2, I got a third one. And the third one I got is pine cones in resin. And this was 1 ounce, 1.47 ounces. So I got 3 different weights. This one spins like a dream. This is the one I did the plying on, and I got a lot of spin on this one when I was working on it, so that was fun. So my goodies this month were replacing my spindle with 3 beautiful spindles from 3D Woodworks. Buy 2, get a third one for $2. So you know I had to buy 3. I just did. So my other goodie was another birthday present. Leslie, the wonderful Leslie gave me the pattern for the Penguino by Stephen West. I have been thinking that I'm preparing myself for, because I want to own a Penguino, and I think I want to knit one. And so she gave me the pattern, and I need to study it and figure out what size I want to do. Do I want to do a giant one? That seems excessive. I think I want I think I want a long sleeve one. But this pattern has all kinds of like variations of, you know, that someone has done a variation and he's included the information about that. I mean, look at that crazy one. So obviously you can let yourself use your imagination, do what you want to do. As you can see, I have completely gone crazy with my color printer, which is a shame. I just sent it to the printer. I should have paid more attention to it. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, I have a beautiful pattern and I'm very excited. And that was a gift from Leslie. So thank you so much, Les. I do seriously appreciate it. So the last goodie I got, I haven't been doing much in the way of drawing and painting. And I'm sorry that I'm not, but I'm not. And so I decided to get this Pen and Ink Drawings, A Simple Guide, Alfonso Dunn. Now he has a very nice YouTube channel that I watch periodically. I'm going to start watching him more, but I really wanted just, you know, give it how to shade things, how to think about things. I mean, his main thing is how do you look at something? How do you think about it? How, you know, it's a more sort of a holistic conceptual way of thinking about drawing. And I'm very excited to do something with that because I really want to draw more and I want to be better at drawing. I think part of the reason that I'm not doing too much is I got out of the habit and then I felt like I was, you know, wasn't doing very well. And then I couldn't figure out what I wanted to draw. So anyway, I'm just like counting on Alfonso to get me back started and focused and centered and help me progress with my drawing. So I bought myself that. Woo! Okay, last but not least, last podcast was the 100th podcast, and I have had a giveaway for these 2 skeins of Finley Dappled, Juniper Moon Farms Finley Dappled, and what is the colorway of this? Bayou. Isn't that beautiful? Maybe it's from the Bayou Tapestry. I'm not sure. Anyway, so you had to say crazy pants in the comments if you were interested. And the person who won was Wendy Salinger. Wendy Salinger. So Wendy, contact me on Instagram or Ravelry. I'm DeevaaS. Or you can email me at flameandfiber@mindspring.com. And I'll put that here too. So Wendy, you're the winner. So let me know. I'm going to need your physical address because I will eventually put this in the mail. Don't ask Tammy how long it's going to take though. Oh, poor Tammy. I will be sending you your packet. And then, because, I mean, here we are in March. I'm drawing for the February Ode to Joy Make Long prize. And I never even picked what, you know, yarn or whatever I was going to use for the prize. And so I decided that I was going to give away 3 patterns instead. And the winners of the 3 patterns are Linda, LMCCOLL, Marianne, Dingle Kringle, and Rebecca A78. So here you are, ladies. You are the winners of the pattern. So message me on Ravelry with the pattern that you want, and I will send it to you with the $10, you know, the whole drill. So thank you for participating in the Ode to Joy Make-Along. And I forgot to get it, but I will show you the prize for March for the Ode to Joy Make-Along. Hold on. Since we are hoping those of us in the Northern Hemisphere are looking forward to spring, I thought I would give you this. It's a little bit coming a little bit apart because, you know, it's been in my stash for a long time. This is from Toad Hollow. This is from the Crafty Toads. Toad Hollow yarn, hand-dyed yarns. It says Keyport, New Jersey. That tells you how long I've had this because they haven't been in Keyport for quite some time now. So that tells you I've had this yarn for a very long time, but it's very pretty. I got it as part of a subscription, you know. It's called the Fairy Court. So I'm sure there were other colors that, you know, it was like a monthly thing. Isn't this beautiful though? It's really pretty, but I haven't used it, and I love it, but I haven't used it, so I thought you guys, somebody would really love the Fairy Court by Toad Hollow. So this is the March Ode to Joy giveaway. This is 2-ply, 80% merino, 20% nylon, but it's 2-ply. I wonder if 2-ply is good for socks. I don't know. But you'll have to decide when you get it if you are the winner for this lovely, gorgeous yarn. So this is the giveaway for March. February, I'm giving away the 3 patterns to Linda, Marianne, and Rebecca. And thank you everyone who's participating in the Ode to Joy Make-Along. It is so fun to look at what you're doing and follow along. And I love the camaraderie and the... I think Marianne's, the one I picked of Marianne's had a picture, but the other 2 didn't. So sometimes comments are enough. And in fact, I will be giving the Ode to Joy, I think she called, Carol, you called it the Ode to Joy, right? Her new sock pattern. I will be giving that away to a commenter in the Ode to Joy thread, and this will go to somebody who posted a picture. So... and I will draw that in time for the April podcast, which apparently I'm doing like the first week-ish of the month, depending on how things go. So there you go. I think that's everything that's in my notes. It is. I think it's everything that's in my notes. So I want to say... thank you. Things are going well here. My parents are back to healthy again. They had COVID at the beginning of January and stuff going on, but they seem to be doing pretty well. My mother-in-law is doing well, and everybody has been safe so far. So that's good news. But the reality is not too much exciting is going on around here, and if you watch my blog, you know that's true. We've been doing a lot of experimenting with drink components. Dennis has gotten interested in watching bartenders make all kinds of drinks, even though in general he's not drinking too many of them. Although I'll tell you the truth, he is doing some more exploring. He had found recipe for making your own vermouth, and he has made some vermouth. And so we have been having, and we do keto. So we can't have sugar. And so we have made our own vermouth and our own orange liqueur. And so we've been making a drink called a Corpse Reviver number 2. You can Google that and look it up, Corpse Reviver. And Dennis he decided he wanted to make Kahlua. Now he has been having espresso every day. He used to be strictly a tea drinker, wouldn't think about anything coffee flavored. And 7 years ago, 5 years ago, I'm not sure, when we were in Barcelona, he tried a cafe con leche, and that was it. He decided he likes espresso. So he got himself, for his birthday present 2 years ago, was an espresso machine. So he's been making espresso. So he got it in his head. He wanted to make Kahlua because he wanted to make espresso martinis. So the reason I'm doing this kind of late at night after dark. I mean, it is kind of late. I started this at 10:30 because he made me an espresso martini, and he made it early. I mean, really early, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. My afternoon snack was an espresso martini. I am not in the least bit tired, so I think that's a mistake. He's going to have to make decaf Kahlua for me. But anyway, so he's gotten very into making components. He's been making me tonic water, which is delicious, and that kind of stuff. So he's gotten into that. You know, he's all about the cooking and the microbes and everything. He's still making yogurt all the time, and he's making, right, tonight he's working on his wine and such. So he's been enjoying his forays in the kitchen, and I have too. I really benefit from his hobby a lot more than he benefits from mine. Although he got a new hat this year, which he likes. And I get a delicious dinner every night. Seems fair, right? I mean, I think that's a perfectly fair trade-off. But we're fine here. We're doing well. You know, I'm working, you know, as well as anybody. Let's put it that way. It's very hard to keep level and not be anxious in these times, but I am working on it, and doing the vlog every day certainly has helped me, and I really appreciate the vlog watchers community. It has helped me immensely, and I cherish you all. And those of you who are like, I get it, you can't do it every day. I get it. And that's why I make sure my thumbnail is completely different for the podcast, so you can figure out, oh, that's a podcast, not a vlog. So I hope that's been helpful. Anyway, I can't think of anything else to tell you. Editing Barbara here. Apparently, I'm not very good at this editing Barbara thing, because this is like my 5th try. 6th. Chevis does editing Chevis. I wonder how many takes she needs. Anyway, I forgot to mention when I recorded my podcast last night that Saturday, March 12th, is our Zoom craft together, where we get together once a month and craft together on a Zoom call, and it's so much fun, and I hope you can come. There is a thread in Ravelry that has the link to the Zoom call. If you can't get on Ravelry or you don't see that, then email me at flameandfiber@mindspring.com, and I will send you the link. It's at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which is 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, early in the morning in New Zealand, late afternoon in Europe, and we get together, and it's so much fun. So please join us. I'd love to see you there. So please come. Please join the Ode to Joy Make-Along. It's a year-long make-along, and one thread on Ravelry, whatever's bringing you joy, and lots of inspirational things people are working on and making. And if you post pictures, you might possibly win this beautiful yarn, the Fairy Court. There you go. So I will wish you all well. I hope you are all healthy and happy and safe, very safe. And I hope you have lots and lots of time to do the crafting that brings you joy. And please let us know about it in our make-along. Please take good care of yourselves. And I'll talk to you tomorrow or next month. Take care.